I started working on this thing on Tuesday, and it is now Saturday afternoon. Here's the bolt that I pulled out today. You can see this thing doesn't have any threads left on it. This thing is toast. It's bad. It's very bad. And the threads that are in the frame or in the car are likely equally as bad. You can see metal chunks in there. Welcome back. It took us a week to get parts. I had to get a tap. It's 14 by 1.5. I had to get 4 new bolts, which you can see right here. Those weren't that bad because that old bolt that I took out of there wouldn't fit. So I tapped this hole, just run that up there. These threads are a little loose. You can kind of see that the bolt's got a little bit of play in it. It's like 3/4 of the way in there. It's a very long bolt. We're going to use red Loctite on that when we put it back together, but for now that's good. So we're going to start trying to get that one out right. There. Hi, good morning. This thing's officially been in the garage for 2 weeks. I was working on it yesterday with my gun here, doing gunny stuff, and the gun stopped working. Great. Last week I went and bought another battery for this thing. You can see there's a battery that was on it. There's another battery that I bought for this thing. I did that because this thing was going dead in like less than 10 minutes, and then I was having to wait for like an hour before this battery would charge up. So I was charging 2 batteries so that I could get this bolt loose. I've been working on these bolts now for 2 weeks. I'm on my second bolt out of 4. It's not fun. These things are stripped out. They're stuck in there. They're so stuck in there that this thing that I've had for over 5 years doesn't work anymore. So I went into town to buy a new one, and I found out they discontinued that gun. They don't make it anymore. They're replacing it with another gun. They offered me a new one, but the batteries aren't compatible, which means I would have spent, you know, $200-300 on something that only had 1 battery, and I've been back to square one. We went to a Harbor Freight that was over an hour away, and I got a new gun. So now I have 2 guns, one that works. I have the battery out of this one that we don't need to leave in here anymore. Watch me make a complete mess of this one-handed. Mine. And then another battery charger with an extra battery. So now I have 2 battery chargers and 3 batteries in 1 gun. So I should be able to break another gun today. So let's have fun. Oh, I think I will show you guys some of what I've been dealing with here for the last few days. I haven't really shown you me battling with these things before. We're just gonna go for it. Let's throw a little WD-40 up there. I don't know why I still call it WD-40. I haven't used WD-40 in years. Now, of course, this is going up into a hole that I've sprayed this before, but the odds of that really getting up to where the threads are that are holding are, well, they're not good. But that won't ever stop us, will it? Sometimes you try and take all the precautions not to break a bolt, and you still break a bolt. We are officially screwed. I'm gonna call the owner of this van and find out what they want to do, because it's only 1 bolt that's broken. This is an important one. This is a frame bolt. There's 4 of these that hold the motor and the trans in. This is probably gonna have to be put back together and taken to a body shop so that they can get the other half of that out of the frame, and then I don't know if we're gonna have to weld in new nuts or what. I don't know what to do right now. This was supposed to be so I could fix the power steering leak, and it's just turned into a much bigger job. Okay, working on this for 2.5 weeks, blah blah blah. Broke important bolt, big giant headache, ruined tools. It was like $500 spent, and you know, just getting to this point, and I'm not gonna be able to put a rack and pinion in this thing because it has frame damage. So the bolts were cross-threaded by the previous person that worked on this subframe. They did not screw the bolts in right, and because of that, well, I broke one. Now I gotta put this together with 3 frame bolts instead of 4 frame bolts. You can see I have this bracket here, which is actually gonna help hold everything up, even though I'm gonna be missing a bolt. I also got a little bit of Loctite, so we're gonna coat everything really good in red Loctite, and we're gonna put everything back together, and I'm gonna let it sit overnight, and then I'm gonna come back in the morning and we're gonna lower the front here, and we're gonna see if it'll hold its own weight. And as long as it can hold its own weight, we're gonna put everything back together and drop it on its wheels tomorrow without replacing the rack and pinion. That's going to be a job for someone else, because like I said, this is going to have to go to a frame shop in order to get that bolt drilled out of it and a new nut put inside of the frame. That is beyond the capabilities that I have here. Okay, she's all back together. All I got to do is get the jack and take it off the jack stands, tighten the lug nuts, and fill the power steering reservoir back up. Since been in here for 3 weeks, I think this thing officially takes the award for the longest I've ever worked on a car and actually not fixed it. I was waiting for parts. I had subframe bolts that were cross-threaded either by the factory or the previous person that worked on it. I got it all back together so you can't even see it now. Would I do this job again? Sure. Would I do a job like this on this car again? No. So I'm gonna put some power steering stop leak in here with some Honda Specialized power steering fluid, and this thing's probably gonna go up for sale, unfortunately. With the way the car market is right now and just everything, I don't think that this thing is gonna be as reliable as it should be, and I just don't think it's the right car for us. So it's gonna be someone else's problem. It's the way the world works. We'll get this thing off the ground and we'll put some fluid in it. Car coming down. Nice and easy. Man, getting my phone cleared so I can actually record more video. I was actually working on it longer than I was waiting on the car. Anyway, got that last jack out now, so car coming down. There we go. She's back down on her own 2 wheels. 4 wheels. Anyway, let's get her out. Let's get her fill with some power steering fluid and see if there's how bad the leak is. All right. Clean billish of health.
Billish? Cleanish?
Good enough to sell. Again, it's got a small power steering leak. I did put some stop leak in there. It is missing one last subframe bolt, but this thing isn't worth enough to. I mean, it's a 2005. Not. Maybe the owner of this wants to take it into a body shop and have a bunch of framework done on it so that you can get new bolts in there. And I did put new bolts in where I could, but I just don't have enough space. And probably, you know what? If this were my garage, if this were our house, I probably would have had the time and effort to pull it all apart and fix it right. But I can't just leave this in a garage that's not mine for 2 months, 3 months while I figure this out. Not that it would take that long, but I mean, I was waiting for parts for like a week on this thing. It was just a bastard. It's just a rusty old van, and it looks good. It still has value, and so I think we're just gonna let it be someone else's value. I guess that's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that stuff. It really helps us. We are growing. We're trying to get to 500 right now. Small goals, right? Anyway, we'll see you next time.